I've been a shepherd for 2 years.
Complete with crook, Ethan Hassler corrals his flock.
It's quite a handy tool. Even if I don't use it to catch a sheep, I'll use it as an extension of my arm and my reach.
The 30-odd lambs of Kelmscott Farm respond in age-old fashion.
Hey, girls.
Just another day in a lamb's life.
Now, that took me a couple of weeks. Now when I go out and I whistle, they come in. It saves me a lot of footwork.
You'd never imagine what saves the lambs themselves in this new millennium. They are of rare genetic breeds known as Cotswolds and Jacobs. So rare, they're listed as endangered. But in order to keep raising them, the farm must prove they are economically viable, that they are a necessary cog in the global financial wheel.
Spin it like you spin a top. And this is the most primitive, or one of the most primitive types of spinning wheels.
So their wool is sheared, spun, and sold.
It's very strong. I like to show children that I say try to break it now, don't hurt your hand, because you could. It's so strong.
Farm even weaves it into blankets, hats, and other products to sell. But the lamb's meat is also a commodity that cannot be ignored.
If we can show producers that there are ways to market this wool from these sheep, which there are, or that, these lambs from Jacobs and Cotswolds are better tasting lamb, than the commodity lamb on the shelf, then they may want to raise these lambs. If you can't show a farmer or a producer a way that they can make some money from the animal, then they're not going to want to raise those animals.
And the breed will die out.
And the breed will die out.
Among the cattle that is raised for food, lamb is probably the most controversial, except for here on the farm. In fact, it has become part of their new mission.
It's a little different to raise them from little tiny lambs, to see them born and then see some go off to market. But that is the nature of the job.
You knew that going in.
I knew that going in.
Oh, okay.
The staff has grown so comfortable with what you might call the cycle of a lamb's life that they invite guests for feasts periodically in order to promote the livestock. On a recent night, we followed the volunteer chefs through preps for one such party.
This is very easy to fix. It's great to fix for a big group of people.
You begin with a boneless leg of lamb.
The first step in preparing the lamb is to cut all the fat off. Cut slits along the grain of the meat. And you're going to be putting slices of garlic into the slits.
The garlic should be roasted. One of the steps you can do in advance. Another is to prepare a marinade spread.
Push out the garlic into a bowl and kind of mash it up. You add a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard.
Mix in a tablespoon each of fresh chives, basil, and thyme, and spread it over the lamb.
You can't be afraid to get your hands into it. You got to touch the meat.
Now you'll seal it with fresh breadcrumbs.
Cut it in thin slices and then cut those in half. Place them on a cooking sheet and with a little bit of olive oil and put them in the oven for about 10 minutes.
You crumble and blend the slices into the crumbs.
I usually sprinkle them on about a cup at a time and then press it into the lamb. You want to add a little liquid to the pan, and again, it's your choice. I like to add a little bit of a good Merlot and maybe a little bit of chicken stock.
Insert a meat thermometer in the thickest part of the leg and into a 425-degree oven for 10 minutes. Reduce the heat to 325, and 2 hours later, it's time for the taste test.
It looks too good. I think it's just all part of life, just sort of being something from its beginning to its end. I admire people who know where their food comes from beginning to end.